on the slate today, so let's preview them with a round of jump ball. First up, Heat Bucks. Milwaukee has the best rated defense in the NBA, but also allows more threes per game than any other team. Math. On the other hand, Miami is the best three-point shooting team in the league. Brian, which do you trust more, the Heat's range or the Bucks' defense?
Well, this is a great question, Rachel, but I can wiggle out of this one because Eric Spoelstra has said that Jimmy Butler and Goran Dragic are going to be out tonight. So I'll go with the Bucks defense. How about that for an easy one?
Amin, are you going to similarly slither?
No, Rachel, because this question isn't about tonight. It's about in general, and I trust the Heat shooting. This is what I call the Bucks defense. They're the Death Star. They destroy planets. It's the most unstoppable thing in the universe, except they have this one little flaw. It's this exhaust pipe that if you shoot threes in it, it blows the whole thing up. This is where the Bucks will be susceptible tonight, and this is where they'll be susceptible in the playoffs, whether it's to the Heat or the Raptors or whoever else they face in the East.
Amin, congratulations. We've been doing this for 4.5 years, and you have now said my favorite thing you've ever said on the jump. So thank you very much. That's a perfect analogy. Second jump ball. Dallas got off to a slow start in the bubble, but Luka Doncic has been lighting it up every single game. He is now facing a top 5 defense in the Clippers today, though. So Amin, who is the tougher matchup for Luka? Is it Kawhi or Paul George? Bonus points for another Star Wars reference.
Now, see, here's where I am the king of hypocrisy. We're talking about tonight. Neither. If I'm the Clippers, there's a great chance I might see the Mavs in the first round. I'm not putting PG or Kawhi on Luka. I'm letting him go against Marcus Morris. I'm letting him go against Reggie Jackson. I'm saving all the good stuff for when we see them in the playoffs.
We're not following the rules of the game, but I will bring us back to the center and say that Kawhi is one of the hardest defenders ever because he's got incredible size and incredible hands, and you never want to have to go against him because he can outmuscle you, he can go over your top, and he can strip the ball from you. He's probably the most fearsome defender in the league right now in a one-on-one setting. So yeah, if I'm Luka, I don't want to see him today or any other day.
So you're saying he's the emperor of defense and that Paul George is the Darth Vader of defense? No, I'm trying to take this too far.
Beautiful.
All right, last jump ball. Lakers-Rockets tonight. LeBron is sitting out, guys. Russell Westbrook is listed as questionable. Those sources do tell our Tim McMahon he is expected to sit. Expect a heavy dose of Anthony Davis, although he is also on the injury list, and James Harden. Brian, who scores more points tonight of these two teams or these two players?
Well, I'm not taking any under on James Harden. I'm always taking James Harden, especially since the last couple of games he's been held under 25 points. I say market correction without Russ tonight. Watch out for the big 5-0 against the Lakers.
Yeah, this one's easy. One guy brings the ball up. The other guy has to wait for the ball to be delivered to him. One guy is the offensive engine that drives his team. The other guy's offensive engine is sitting out tonight. Going with Harden. This one's an easy one. Harden by a lot.
Well, James Harden had 49 points in his first game here. That wasn't overtime, but that 50-piece is still sitting out there, so I agree. He may try to go for it tonight. All right, guys, coming up, stick with us because TJ Warren has been leading the league in scoring in the bubble. File that under sentences nobody predicted. He prepares for a little revenge game against the Suns today.
For other people. And so now, because Simmons isn't on the floor, there's a world of opportunities that normally aren't available when the two of those guys are together.
Yeah, the other thing is they have a really quality player to step in there. Al Horford most likely going back in to power forward. And while Al Horford has been up and down this year, in the bubble, when Al Horford has played with Joel Embiid, the Sixers have seen good things. The other thing is their first-round possible opponent is the Celtics. The Celtics have difficulty defending big men. It is the weakness of their roster. We have seen it in this bubble. And Joel Embiid is going to get the ball a lot. So if you're going to switch to an offense to prepare for the Celtics, you might as well spend the next 7 to 10 days feeding Joel Embiid the ball. And Joel wants that ball. He has made it clear he thinks the offense should run fully through him anyway. Well, now he's going to get his opportunity. And who knows, this may be actually something that sets them up for their series with the Celtics until Ben Simmons maybe can return from this injury.
And I want to be clear, the Sixers are not a better team without Ben Simmons. He is an important, integral part of their operation. but it is a weird situation with their two superstars sometimes thriving without each other, and that is what Joel Embiid will have a chance to do. All right, I want to move on to Zion Williamson. He's been in the spotlight for how the Pelicans have been managing his minutes in the bubble. They are playing right now, and guys, he has 20 points in 16 minutes. He's averaging 18 minutes over the Pelicans' first 3 games, playing in as many as 25 minutes in the last game. So they're in action against the Kings. I want to get you some highlights here. Take a look. Zion getting the start and his first bucket with the drive.
Go ahead, big fella. No one wants to get in a charge there. No one wants to take that charge.
Bogdanovic hitting one of his many threes so far in the game. And then Zion with the dime to Derek Favors. Second quarter, we had De'Aaron Fox with the alley-oop to Daquan Jeffries.
Hit the Quan. No? Okay.
The Euro, the dish, and then who else? Zion with the drive. All right, so Brian, how many minutes do you think Zion should play in this game? You've been talking for the last few days that the Pelicans do have a plan. So they went 15 minutes, 15 minutes. They were going to go more, but it was a blowout, and then 25 minutes. We're at this now 4th game. How many minutes do you expect?
Yeah, it looks like Alvin Gentry has set this up to be a 25-minute game for Zion. He played him 10 minutes in the first half. And the idea would be that they would save him for the last 5 minutes of the game. Hopefully that it's that close. Now, this game has been a disaster for the Pelicans defensively. They give up 50 points in the first quarter, and they give up 80 in the first half, and they give up 60%. They shot 60% as a team, and we're losing at halftime. So whoever is out on the floor has got to defend for them to have a chance there. But it looks like they don't want to lose any more games with Zion sitting on the bench, so they are going to set this up, and it looks like Zion will be in position to be able to finish this game.
Yeah, we're doing a live look in now, and by the way, Zion is a perfect 8 for 8 from the floor. So as we're watching the game, I mean, why don't you chime in?
Yeah, you know, the tough thing is there's 2 conversations about Zion. Conversation number 1 is managing his health. When we talk about how many minutes should he play, that's not up to us. That's not really even up to Alvin. That's up to the medical staff. They've got a specific program to make sure he ramps up at a gradual pace. Because remember, he sat out a good 12 to 13 days without working out at all. And what we know, Rachel, is when you get fatigued, which happens when you're out of shape, you are more susceptible to injury. We heard David Griffin tell that to Lisa Salters the other day on the broadcast. And moreover, we've seen 2 examples, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Jonathan Isaac, guys who were coming off an injury before the shutdown, came out here, played well, and then re-injured the same body part. That's not a coincidence. And so the way the Pelicans have been managing his minutes, I think, is appropriate towards their medical guidelines are. The other part of it is he doesn't always play well on the defensive end. At least he has in the last 3 games.
That's fair.
So while
Let me say something about the Kings here. This is an absolute must-win game for the Kings if they have any dream at all of getting into the 9th seed and getting into a playoff tournament, and they have played that way. De'Aaron Fox has played great in this game. Bogdanovic, who had one of the most miserable shooting games you're ever going to see in his last game, came out and hit his first 6 shots. This has been a highly competitive game. This is essentially an elimination game. Whoever loses this game is going to be in big trouble.
Spoiler alert, the Kings already eliminated. There's no chance. They've got no chance.
I mean, it's funny that you kept mentioning the medical staff, and you're saying it's not really up to Alvin Gentry, which I can definitely tell you after conversations with Alvin Gentry, it has not been up to Alvin Gentry. But it's not supposed to be, right? That this is why they have the medical staff they have. You worked with this medical staff. They were your medical staff when you were in Phoenix. Can you give some insight into why David Griffin trusts them so much and is basically giving them the final decision-making as opposed to the coach or even Zion himself?
Well, I think the first things first is that when you give it to the medical staff, there's no pressure. We got to win this game. We got to do whatever it takes to get a guy out there. Those guys are beholden to the science before any other kind of quote-unquote political reasons why a guy should play more or less. But then the other part of this is, Rachel, they take a look at you and they do all these full-body measurements, and they can tell when you are firing your muscles in the right way or whether you're compensating, right? So back in December, when he was quote-unquote healthy but not playing, they said we got to reteach him how to run. Why is that? Because the way he was running and jumping was making him more susceptible to injury. So they want to fix the biomechanics before they just trot you out there to play 35 minutes.
Makes sense. All right, guys, coming up, we're going to check in more on this game. We'll bring you more live looks. Coming up, though, Kevin Durant picked the Clippers to win the finals this year. Really interesting stuff. We're going to break down his prediction next. First, though, here is LeBron James. This was last night. He reacted to comments from President Trump. President Trump said that players kneeling for the anthem causes him to turn off the game and was, quote, disgraceful. Take a listen to LeBron's response.
Are sad about losing his viewership. And I hope everyone, no matter the race, no matter the color, no matter the size, would see what leadership that we have at the top in our country, and understand that November is right around the corner, and it's a big moment for us as Americans. If we continue to talk about we want better, won't change. We have an opportunity to do that. So, but the game will.